All right. Well, hi guys. Thanks for talking to me again. I appreciate it. I'm really enjoying this season. I love the back half especially. And Gina, I meant to ask you last time. I didn't get to ask you. Is there anything that was it hard stepping back into this role after so long? Was there anything that kind of took a bit for you to, get back? I guess, for lack of a better description.
Not at all. I mean, I think I'm not very good at anticipating things. I've never been good at anticipating things. So I think I was quite nervous before I arrived in New Orleans. Like, how's it going to go? Are the rhythms still going to be there? Is it going to click? But then as soon as I had my first fitting with Nadine Haydes, and we were like, oh yeah, that's Sophie, and everything was already like, I have such great chemistry with her anyway, so we were just pulling things off and trying them on, and then we got into the kind of read through and just hearing everybody's voices and talking over each other, just the rhythms. It just felt like we fit in right away. I mean, some technical things, as an actor, to be able to learn those lines as so many lines so very so quickly, learn the accents, jump from episode to episode to episode, never having advanced copies of stuff. That stuff, you do need to get into a rhythm. It takes a little time. There's a little balancing act going on in the beginning, but in terms of us all fitting in together, and then obviously when Aleyse and Noah joined us, there was a feeling like, how's the dynamic going to be? But again, as soon as we started working with those guys, we just felt like this chemistry, and it just felt not so natural.
Okay. And Elise, she says all those things you got to do, the accents and all that, and switching characters so often. Was it hard for you to get that rhythm? And did they have any advice for you on that front?
Uh, if anything, I begged them for advice. I'm like, please help me out. It's a fast pace. I mean, I couldn't believe, the hours that they were clocking, that first time around and stuff like that. And we were definitely in COVID hours. So it was a little slower pace. I had a bit easier of a time, but yeah, it is hard to get the rhythm down, but it's just, even when you're scared, even when you're nervous, just making sure that if your ears are closed, you open them back up, so that you can really take it all in and get flowing with it. I mean, shout outs to also like Gary Camp and Vince and Dave Connell for like teaching me how to hit a mark again, things like that. Is also hard to do. It's your body, it's your mind, it's the lines and your creativity all firing at the same time. So it can be tricky, but I think we got the hang of it.
And I wanted to ask you this season, for your character especially, you're not just hacking, you're also, well, everybody grifts, but you're doing some things with Parker and that kind of thing. Which part do you have a favorite out of the three things that you like better for your character that want to see more of? Or do you just kind of like them all equally?
I like them all equally. I think, every time I get to do something new, that's always my favorite thing, coming up next. So I think that's the thing that excites me. But if there was something that I'd want to do more of, it would honestly be like, I want her to screw up a little bit more. That the funnest thing to play is a mistake, and all the fallout from that. So that's what I'd want to do more of. Mess up.
It's not easy doing the presentations over and over again, though. That's so hard, and you have so many word lines, and you have to make it. It's a bit like I was just saying earlier. Like, it's quite hard for me to do those tiny little cons that are just a few lines here and there, because I have to make it interesting every time. And for you to give those like big presentations over and over again, and
surprisingly, once you get it down and like you make sense of the thing, it becomes much. I have a really good memory. Shout out to high school for that. You're just memorizing a whole textbook because you don't know what's gonna be on. But those parts, I think they're difficult because I go in my head like, how do I still give even though I'm just delivering, a whole page of stuff? That's the difficult part of it, not rattling that stuff off, but how do I still give and get outside of myself even though I'll be talking for the next 4 minutes? So yeah, challenging for sure.
Gina, do you ever see Sophie doing some of the other things, like doing a bit more hacking? Or I don't know that she'd necessarily be jumping off buildings like Parker, but maybe some other types of things? Or
you know, it's one of those things, it's the magical world of television, isn't it? You have a character who's like, I can't do hacking, I don't understand anything about technology, and then like 2 episodes later you're like like doing this. I mean, I'm such a Luddite, I'm terrible with technology. It's a miracle that I'm even on here today. But no, I think we're all pretty happy in our roles. I mean, I think it would be fun. I think it's fun in emergencies, like when we have to like pick up the pieces, or like you know, like we have to like swap roles and stuff. I mean, I do think that I'd like to maybe do some like thievery, because you know, Sophie is famously an art thief, but we've never actually seen her, I don't know, have we ever actually seen her steal something? Like, so I wouldn't, I'd quite like to do the Mission Impossible kind of like hovering over a you know, a Fabergé egg maybe one day.
Yeah, they don't do the stealing so much anymore, quite as much. So do you guys have a favorite scene for the back half that you can kind of tease without spoiling too much? Gina, you can go first.
um do I have a favorite scene? I really, in the finale episode, you know, I get to like really play a long con with our sort of arch enemy, played by Lucy Taylor, the head of RIZ. In fact, I liked both the scenes where I faced off with her. There's a long scene in the finale where I face off with her, and there's a scene in the bucket job in Beth's episode where I like face off with her, and I did quite enjoy that sort of moment. Yeah.
I think that whole long sequence in the finale is my favorite so far from everything.
Really?
What about you, Elise?
I'm gonna have to, you know, bring it back to the great train job. Yeah, I think one of my favorite scenes, you know, Ari did a guest spot in that episode, and you know that was fantastic. It was good energy for, I think, Brianna to get a hold of sort of the softer, you know, gushier parts of her, and to really explore that, and not always trying to be living up to something, but seeing someone that's very like her on a horizontal plane. That was, I had a great time with Ari, and yeah, those are some of my favorite scenes to play too. Can't wait to see them.
Yeah, that was kind of one of my other questions is, do you feel like by the end of the season that she finally has realized that she is a full member of the team and not just Hardison's sister? Because she's definitely, you know, holding her own.
Yeah, I think she does. I think Brianna not only has learned from her own journey, but learned from the journey of Harry Wilson as well. And, you know, seeing him do, you know, all that stuff. And she's gleaned things from each member of the crew, that I think she's sort of sitting there going, well, I've learned all these things. I'm a bit more confident, you know, I'm thinking outside of the box. I can, you know, Sophie has taught her how to cover all of her bases, and, you know, not only there's this one scene where I'm saying like, yeah, I did that, you know, in the first 8 or whatever, and they're all looking at me like, no, you didn't, you know. And I think Brianna, after sitting with these lessons, she's like, I must be part of this team, because there's no way that they would have imparted this on me, and I've learned it, and I feel more confident about myself if that love didn't come in. So I think she's doing well by the end of that.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your time. I hope there's a season 2. I can't wait to see more. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.